He is, that man. Weghorst grabs the all-important winner for the Netherlands as they beat Poland and come from behind to win 2-1 in their opening game of Euro 2024. Hit the like buttons and subscribe. Make sure you're checking out our Football Terrace group chat as well by scanning that QR code on the screen. And look, there's a lot to unpack about this game. There's a lot to speak about as well, because the Netherlands, listen, got a rich history in this competition. They haven't been to as many of recent finals as people would expect, a nation of their heritage. And they come in and there's some good, there's some bad, there's some worrying, there's some funny as well. And Weghorst getting the win is a funny one. He comes on and he's not had a great season again. He's still on the books at Burnley, but hasn't been there for years. But I think that's 7 goals in his last 11 international games. Some players just do well internationally. It's the way it works sometimes. Jordan Pickford for England looks much better in goal for England than he does for Everton, in my very humble opinion. But there we go. But what an interesting game. And look, Poland, who were absolutely written off out of this. I know they've lost, okay? And a lot of people say there's no pride in losing. Well, they were written off as not having a catch chance in hell, you know. But I actually think if they play like that in all 3 games, they would have a chance of going through. You've only got to win 1 match and get 3 points, and you're probably going to make it through to the next round. And I thought they really equipped, for a young side, I thought they equipped themselves really well. They were the underdog. They are the smaller footballing nation. Started well, strong from set pieces, and they made life difficult for the Netherlands. So they could be kind of proud of that performance, even though they didn't get the win. When it comes to the Netherlands, when it comes to the Dutch, look, we know this Dutch team doesn't have the quality in it compared to yesteryear. The fall-off is crazy. I grew up watching the likes of Clarence Seedorf and Edgar Davids, Dennis Bergkamp, Overmars, to name a few, of course, Yatsdam, to name a few. I'm forgetting names, there's so many. And the Boers, like, crazy, the level of player that the Netherlands used to have compared to now. It's night and day. It's completely different. What is a crazy stat is that Memphis Depay is not far away from becoming the greatest ever goal scorer in that nation's history. Sorry, my kids had me out so early this morning. I didn't mean to yawn there. Sorry, I apologize. But I thought Memphis today, along with Xavi Simon, I thought they were both really wasteful. Lots of good trickery, lots of good movement, lots of good ability demonstrated on the ball. But in terms of today's game and today's performance, I thought they were wasteful. And that wasteful nature has to improve. Now, it's the first game, and I don't think a really good performance in the first game means you're going to win. Equally, I don't mean an indifferent performance in the first game means you're going to crash out of the group stage. I don't think the correlation and causation can be drawn from 1 match at this tournament. We've got to see them play again. But I saw a lot of wasted opportunities in this game, a lot of good movement, a lot of good play, the ball in the right place, but wastefulness. Now, listen, Gakpo got his goal well done, but equally wasteful in large periods of the game. Weghorst, that's a funny part of the game today. Weghorst is known for being wasteful. He had 1 chance, scored 1 goal. Could you rely on him for 90 minutes? Probably not. And that would be that's 1 question mark over the Dutch. The second is they look susceptible when attacked. They look as though they can be broken down. They look as though you can get at them. They look as though they are beatable. And there were some periods in the game where the very unfancied, the very much maligned and written off Poland did open them up. And that's without any real blistering pace. That's without any real stars in their team. Can you imagine what a French side could potentially do to the Netherlands? It could be dangerous. It could be worrying. It could be potent. This exists, in my opinion. So I feel like there's some positives. Of course, they win the game, and that's the most important thing to do I know it's the group stages, but it's knockout football. Win that game, get your goals, etc. We all know how important those elements are. But there's definitely some problems that need to be addressed within this Dutch team. I can't understand why Mickey van der Ven isn't starting. I think he should be on the pitch. Frimpong should be on the pitch. And I'm quite a fan of Xabi Simon. But I felt that Marlon came on and gave them much greater width. When the width came into the play, they were able to move the ball quicker and actually maintain more possession, because what it started to do over time was stretch the Polish side, who up until that point were able to be quite compact. It was quite a good setup to begin with it kind of almost got like a back three. Dumfries would push out really wide. Xavi Simons was dropping into the middle. But the Polish adapted and they almost nullified it in many ways. And I won't say it took Koeman too long, but the players on the pitch couldn't find a solution. So he made changes. He made them have more width. He made them spread the play, which opened up Poland, which essentially led to the goal. That's why Ake was able to kind of not underlap because he was in possession, but come on the invert, if you want to use that phrase, and feed that ball onto the inside. Slightly fortuitous with the deflection. I think that takes the assist away, actually. That means he doesn't get the assist because of that deflection, which I find crazy, to be fair. But both goals actually created by Ake today. So there's some things for them to be positive about. I almost feel like with the Netherlands, this is going to be about personnel change as opposed to the system. And I look at that bench and I think Marlon, Frimpong, looking at some other players on that bench. I mean, I'm not Gravenberch, maybe. You got Xerxes there. They've got some other names. I would be, you've got to have high standards, and there was a lot of wasteful players on that pitch today. But I'd love to get your views. I would love to get your opinions on this. Sunshine here, big up Sky. She says Memphis was trash. Look, Memphis today was the epitome of the eye test versus stats. Neither should be used in complete isolation at every occasion. Anybody that does that with either, fools. Don't ever listen to them. But Memphis today was like the epitome of that weird argument. He has some great first touches, some of his turns, some of his skills. The way he twined a few individuals up was amazing. But when it comes to the end product, the final shot, the final ball, or the decision-making, it was all off. And this is why I say to people, like, ability on the ball is so important. But those other elements, which ironically lead to the stats that people hold in high regard, are equally as potent. Because in the business end of a season, in knockout competition football, as we are witnessing right now, those things matter. And without Weghorst, they suffer a draw today, which I don't think a team like the Netherlands is going to go out with 3 teams from each group potentially going through. But it isn't a good look for them. It wouldn't have been a great way for them to start. I believe, unless I'm mistaken, their next game is, I'm going to check. I mean, their next game is France. There was a draw and then lose to France. Then they do go into that final game potentially on 1 point. That makes a lot of pressure. They could go out on 1 point, I suppose. They were there to lose to Austria, who were a lot of people's dark horses for this tournament. So, look, it was an important goal from Weghorst. A lot of soul searching, I think, for the Netherlands, even though they won the game, when you look at the performance and some of the wastefulness. But entertaining. If I remove the critique out of it, another game that I sat back and I thoroughly enjoyed, because both teams had a chance to win. This is how football should be. This is how football was when I grew up. When shirts like this were popular, this is from the 80s, this shirt. Not literally, it's a remake of an 80s shirt. It's not actually one worn in the 80s. My children got it for me for Father's Day. I don't wear a lot of football kits because I don't buy Glazer merchandise, not until the plans revealed for them to leave. But I've got a New England shirt today to support my boys. We have a comment. Abs, thank you very much for becoming a new member of the Football Terrace. We've got Mo and we've got Halftime Hooks going to come on now and give us their thoughts, give us their feelings on the game. Kivior pocketed Xavi. No, Kivior played. Look, he had a few mishaps on the ball today, Kivior, but I thought we had a decent game. He was actually, him and Chesney were actually the only 2 players who. Did I recognize the names? Did I recognize any other Polish players? Not really. Not that I was aware of. And again, you all know me. I don't bullshit like a lot of content creators. I'm not professing to be this expert on all things European football. But so, look, I thought they equipped themselves well as a young team. And, you know, on another day, they might have grabbed the point from today. They really would have done. I wouldn't say Gakpo was amazing. No, he wasn't amazing. Scored a okay goal that deflected. Thought he played well. I would probably, I'd give him a 6.5. I'll probably give him a 6-3 performance and bump it up to a 7.5 because he got the goal. And goals are huge in this type of thing. But I wouldn't say, wow, it was fire today. I thought it was good. I thought it was good in relation to that. Oh, yes, Zielinski. Yes, you're right. I think it's spelled with an A, though, right? No, it's the one spelled with an E. No, you are right. It's the two spelled very similarly. Yeah, sorry. Again, I don't proclaim to be an expert on all things because people that do that are weird. 6.5, yeah. That's what I said. Plus the goal bumps it up. Performance plus the output. How you assess things, right? You must do, surely. We all do that. Someone had a stinker and scores 2 goals. They don't get a 9, do they? You go, well, their performance was actually a 4, but the 2 goals, he might bump them up to a 7. That's how it works, isn't it? Or maybe it's just in my brain. Right, Mo's here, Hooks is here. How's it going, gentlemen?
It's good. Enjoyed the game, 100%.
Yeah, another good game, Mo. Another good game.
Another end-to-end. Like this is like I feel like Poland could have won it at any moment. You see, every time they went forward, the crosses, the chances, shooting from outside the area, they weren't scared when they had the ball. They pushed the 2 wing backs higher. I'm like, I enjoyed the game, to be honest. And the Dutch as well. Cody Gakpo running at the defense, David Simmons, Memphis Depay, as you said, did not have the great game. But another entertaining game, international. Yeah, 1-1. But you felt like you sat there and you're like enjoying what is going on from the players. Are not afraid to take off. Zielinski looked good. Even the Polish strikers looked all right. I enjoyed the game, to be honest. But what I'm taking from this is that the Dutch don't look as good. They look all right. They look like an okay team. But again, it's the first game. Personal, to be honest, apart from De Vrij, Van Dijk, and Nathan Ake, everyone else looked just below the Dutch, the level of the Holland team that we knew all our lives. Like the players look a little bit lower than in terms of quality, how they play. They look okay, to be honest. They look okay. They don't look as good as the other teams with the names. And we saw like you remember the Bergkamps, the De Boers, and the Overmarses. And even after this, it's a little bit weaker Holland team. But again, they have talent. And this is why at the end, they got the win, to be honest. I thought the game deserves a draw, in my opinion. But again, you take your chances, you win. Poland at the end got a chance to equalize, and they didn't take it. But a very entertaining game. I don't think these two teams are going to go far in this tournament. Maybe it's too early to judge, but looking at the quality, yeah, it's not for me, to be honest.
I really liked that Reijnders guy, though. That Reijnders guy in the midfield, I think he had a really good performance, man. He had some good touches on the ball, some good passes. He looks like a little quality player. I don't know who he plays for, but
AC Milan.
AC Milan. Okay, I can see potentially a lot of clubs coming in for him in the transfer window because he looks good. But yeah, it's the same old Netherlands, right? Like they can play good football, but when they get into the final third, very wasteful. Oh, whoops.
You're going to share the phone call with us?
Sorry about that. Yeah, so they looked good up until the final third. Very wasteful, especially Depay. But then, they bring on a proper striker who just hangs around in the box and gets into the right positions as a striker, and then he puts the ball in the back of the net. So I guess that's kind of what you need, right? You don't need a striker that's drifting into the midfield all the time and trying to be a midfielder and getting into the same space as Simmons, who, he didn't have the greatest of games. He had a few good touches, a few good skills, but again, no end product. I think Poland were really unlucky, and I think Netherlands were really lucky that Lewandowski wasn't on the pitch, because if Lewandowski was on the pitch, could have been a completely different game. Really liked what I saw from the Poland left back, Zawalewski, I believe his name is, and I think Zielinski had a good game as well. So yeah, I know the game itself, very entertaining, much like the Italy game yesterday. A lot of good football, not a lot in front of goal, but very end to end. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what Netherlands can do for the remainder of the tournament. I'm not so confident they'll be able to get anything out of France, but I can see them beating, is it Austria in their final game? So confident that Netherlands will go through, especially considering they got this win. But yeah, they just need to work out what they're going to do in the box, right? Because they were very wasteful today. And yeah. Gakpo, just on Gakpo, I think he had a really good first half, but the second half, he was pretty much a ghost. And I understand why he got.
But I thought, to be honest, before Nick comes in, I thought he was the most positive player in the Netherlands team. The guy that had the confidence to drive with the ball every time he got it. Like, he wasn't scared of going, dribbling, driving at the defense. I think he was the best forward today from the Netherlands team, from the Dutch team, to be honest, which is positive. He was driving at the defense every time he got the ball.
Well, I gave him a 7.5 out of 5 all
Yes.
in, and I would still say that's probably the highest. Yeah, I would agree. He was the best out there today, but it was just interesting seeing how wasteful. I mean, Xavi Simons is young. I don't know how young he is. What is he? 21, 22, 21. So, you know, he could light up the next 2 or 3 games and have a great tournament. I was more disappointed in Memphis because Memphis is he's got to be 30 odd now. He's experienced. He had a lot of good opportunities in that game. He was just so wasteful. He really was wasteful. And and we know he can score for his nation because he's got so many goals for them already. I do believe he's 5 goals, 6 goals away from becoming the Netherlands' highest ever goal scorer. So, you know, there has to be expectations on a person that is probably going to become his country's greatest ever goal scorer. This is where, though, you know, you look at, if I think about like England, we've got Rooney and we've got Harry Kane that have both surpassed Sir Bobby Charlton for the amount of goals scored for England. But neither are bigger English legends in terms of the national team because Sir Bobby's goals led to winning a World Cup. Yes. And that's the one thing I would say. There's other strikers that have won major, you know, scored less goals than Memphis, but it's what you do in these major tournaments. And I wanted a lot more out of him today. I don't know what did you make of it today, Nick? Did you feel that they were just, you know, warming into the competition, or is this an indication that there just isn't quite the overarching quality with the Dutch anymore?
It was, for me, it was like watching 3 separate matches, paying attention to Netherlands. The first 20 minutes or so, right up until the Poland goal, I was just like, this Netherlands team is here to play. They are serious. They were attacking. Gakpo looked incredible. He looked like the Netherlands Gakpo, not the Liverpool Gakpo, sorry. But he was attacking. He was direct. And I was like, they're going to put up 3 or 4. Lewandowski isn't even here, so there's no over-the-top threat. And then Poland got that one corner and scored off of it. And you saw this like dip in confidence, and it almost like the look on everybody's faces. And even Van Dijk was a little like, this again. We're dominating and we're going to lose because of this again. And there was, and then they got the equalizer, but then there was a lull in the game where I was shocked to see a lot of the Dutch players not pressing, not attacking, not trying to get the ball back. Every time the front players got the ball, Gakpo, Xavi Simons, and Memphis Depay, they were like showing off for some sort of YouTube comp reel or something, trying to be too ball, as opposed to actually passing the ball off to each other or just attacking the goal. And so, and then they got rid of all of them, and you got Weghorst back on the pitch, and it was a bit more of like, let's go directly at goal, and you got the goal. And so that leaves me very confused about who Netherlands are right now. They still have a lot of ghosts of them coming up short the past few competitions or forever. And I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced by this win for them.
Question: is it Gakpo or Gakpo?
Depends how mad you are at him.
So, are you saying Gakpo as in he's a hack?
No. I've also heard that's how
his name is
Gakpo
in Dutch. In Dutch,
it is Gakpo. Okay.
Yeah. But when you think he's a hack, you can make it a hard H.
Okay. I get you. I just wanted to check. Like, we learn something new every day. For years, we had the player that used to, I don't know, Bruce Grobbelaar. Everyone remembers Bruce Grobbelaar, the goalkeeper. I watched him talk on TV once, and he said, "My name it is Bruce Grobbelaar, but it's not pronounced Grobbelaar." He said it's pronounced something like Grobbelaar. He said, but it was just so hard for the English to say, so I just let them say
he's Zimbabwean, that's why.
Yeah, no, I get it. So there we go. What did you make of today, Husam? Obviously, another entertaining watch, but on looking at potential dark horses and stars of this tournament, what did you make of the polls and the Dutch today?
You know, today, the date is 16th of June, 2024. I'm going to guarantee something right here, right now. I'm guaranteeing that Netherlands are not winning this competition. They're not. Because of their absolute idiotic manager. That guy is like doing watch along. There's no difference between me and him, you know, but the difference is he's actually the Dutch national manager, and I expect him to make changes to actually, you know, fix his mistakes. First of all, Cody Gakpo was fantastic today. He created the most dangerous chances and he scored the first goal of the game. That's not main character syndrome. He really was great. You look at him insisting on playing Depay, who was by far the worst player of the whole game. It was like watching the Dutch version of Darwin Núñez. Literally the exact same thing. Just miss chance after miss chance after miss chance. Can't create a chance to save his life either. Just absolute crap, absolute rubbish. And then he proceeds to take off everyone else except him till the end, where his ego goes out the window and he's like, oh shit, we need to get the 3 points. So he takes him off, then brings on Weghorst. And sometimes I've used this example on my watch along as well. And I was saying, look, sometimes it's not even about player quality or ability. Sometimes it's about who does better for the national team. Terry's wearing an England shirt. He'll tell you, one of the guys that like literally fit the bill for England in terms of like has a really good goals to game ratio and all of that, but wasn't that great for his club was Peter Crouch. Peter Crouch came on 2006 World Cup against Trinidad and Tobago, scored a goal towards the end where it was going to be an embarrassing draw. And he saved England like multiple times with his goals and stuff like that. So he's one of those guys that plays well for the national team. Sometimes not every single player who plays well at club level will have it transform over to the international level, and vice versa. Sometimes the players that are good at international level might not be that good for club level. You know, the rare ones are good for both. So for me now, I'm guaranteeing from this moment onwards that Netherlands are not going to win this Euros because they're just not good enough. Their manager is absolutely idiotic. Their midfield get ran over. Reijnders. That performance absolutely stank. When you were behind the strikers, you stink. He brings you deep and you still stink. In front of the defenders, he was horrible. And behind the attackers, he was horrible. Absolutely dreadful performance. And I feel like Koeman's stubbornness is just so weird to me. It's just so weird.
It's so interesting you said that because like 2 minutes ago, Hooks is saying that it was a brilliant performance from Baby Reindeer.
I can't lie to you, Hooks doesn't know ball, so it proves I'm saying the correct thing. So that's all I'm gonna say. Like he just doesn't know ball, so I'm saying the right thing right now. So that just proves, you know, my eye test. I know of Hooks' eye test. 100%.
This is what we're doing, Husam. This is what we're doing.
Did you not say Jorginho had a good game yesterday?
But he did.
There you go then. There you
But
go.
he did.
Here, my guy.
My bad. Sorry, I don't echo chamber Husam's thoughts, so I don't know.
Oh, there you are. But it's not about
He got it.
It's not echo chamber. No one on the panel thought he had a good game.
Oh, sorry, Lord Husam. My bad.
I never said that. Never said that. But Netherlands aren't good enough. They aren't. And I think like, and they have a really big weakness in the team, and that's Dumfries. For me, that's one of their biggest weaknesses. And if as soon as they come up against a team with a strong left winger or a quick left winger, they're done out here. So I think Netherlands, dependent on the draw, might end up in the quarters or wherever, like round of 16. But then after that, they're gonna lose to as soon as they face a serious team, they're gonna lose. Unless it's England, because England you can never trust them on the big stage. But other than that, you know, they're probably gonna end up losing. I'll be sorry with you. Netherlands today. If you're a like opposition coach watching them, you're like, yeah, we could take this on. We could take this on easily.
To be honest with you, like when I'm watching this game before Terry comes on, it's exactly another example of how the talent pool has kind of dried up a little bit from this Netherlands team. And I'm watching them. I'm like, really? Memphis Depay, who flopped at Man United in 2015, flopped at every club he went to, is still starting for them. Yes, he scored some goals, but again, today looked like really a FIFA Street guy. Like as Nick said, he didn't want to play the football. He just wanted to dribble and do like the flicks and tricks.
Get a YouTube compilation,
bro. Yeah. Yes, it's to be honest, it's another game where that it doesn't look like it's great. Even by the way, the Polish team that we saw like 3-4 years ago, when we knew the names, some of these names we just don't know. We never heard of. Again, you remember the Poland team that had like the guys that played for Bernadevsky, that played for Borussia Dortmund at the right wing. They had Arkadiusz Milik was in the bench as well. I think in terms of football, it was entertaining. Talent-wise, this game was weaker again. Another game was weaker a little bit.
You
Are
are
you going to
spot
blame
on.
Pep for it again, Mo?
No, it's not about Pep or anything. It's just for me. Listen, I think someone, I think it's Gary Neville or someone that said that before. He said, nowadays you have to be more athletic. Michael Owen said, more athletic and quicker and physically strong to be chosen as a youngster to play football instead of being more talented than when we were younger.
Yeah, I agree. I think what's really interesting is in England, we had this problem when I was growing up, that unless you were relatively big and or rapid, your technical ability was always second choice. So they went for physicality first, ability second. But if you were small, like most people that grew up in sort of working class environments in England will remember friends who were tiny as kids that no matter, but were amazing on the ball. And it didn't matter how good they were. Some didn't even get picked for the school. They definitely didn't play districts, and most got told no by football clubs. And then you started seeing sort of players. I mean, Messi's an outlier overall, but you then suddenly see sort of the Messis of this world, and lots of in the last 20 years, look how many shorter and smaller players have made it at the highest level because of their technical ability. And I then look at some of my mates that were really, I'm not saying they would have been Messis, no, but some of my mates are similar heights to him now, but just as kids, they were tiny. And I don't know if it's what they're doing in the Netherlands, and I'd love to hear about this. I feel like then what people started doing is, right, we need to make sure we're developed, because what then would happen is you'd have these kids in England. I used to play football with a guy called Ashley Walker, and this kid was rapid, beyond fast. And the tactic was you knock it over the top and he runs onto the ball. So you also then had the bigger, stronger, quicker kids that were not having their technical ability nurtured because they were just using their pace, which is why we had lots of we had players like Theo Walcott's coming through that had all the pace, but had nowhere near the same technical ability as their European counterparts. And then a lot of Europe in the last 20 years is honed in on, we need to find those technically gifted players who are also physically strong, but also understand that young, small people can still grow up and be quick and strong. Maybe you're right. Maybe the Dutch, it's just we go for technical ability only, because the one thing I'd say about that team, it seriously lacks physicality.
Yeah.
Defensively, they've got it. Defensively with Van Dijk and, of course, Mickey van der Ven. But in midfield and up top, they look like at the elite end of the spectrum, the Netherlands look like lightweight. So I would love to understand from people that know Dutch football from the bottom up, what are they doing at academy level that has led to a situation where there is a lack of overall ability and physicality for one of the greatest footballing nations in the world? And that's the point. Like the Dutch have always been a top nation, and now it's really, by their standards, I'm talking, it is so average. It really is.
Denzel Dumfries as right wing back for the Dutch says it all.
Yes. This is true. De Vrij still starting, Depay, Reijnders, Veerman. What's his name? Schouten, I think his name was, or
Schouten,
something like that. Schouten was the other guy, the blonde guy in midfield.
I looked at the team. Yeah, looking at the team today, you would probably say
They have
Van
a couple
Dijk.
of injuries, to be fair. Coop Miners and these guys.
Yeah, Coop Miners. Look, Frankie De Jong. Look at this squad. Now, if everyone's fit, that would be in this squad, right? You look at. I'd say Frankie De Jong and Van Dijk.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're hard pushed to put any of these other players into a Dutch team from 10 years ago back. 10 plus years ago back, most of these players don't get anywhere near that squad, let alone the first team. So it shows the drop off, which is well, if you look at France, and you could get players from this current French team in French teams of 10, 15, 20 years ago. You could even do it with England. You could do it with most of the top
nations. There's an explanation for this, Terry. So I was watching a podcast on
Mbappe over on
the guy that he said that France did in the compounds of the buildings in Paris and around France. What they did is they built small fields, small five-a-side fields, and they used to send scouts to these fields to pick up players. That's why you see the Dembélés. That's why you see all these French players that are really technically gifted. That's why you see all these guys from France now, because it was planned 20 years ago or 30 years ago that we are going to scout the guys that don't go to the clubs for trials, the guys that don't have the money to go to do trials and stuff. We're going to just scout them from their neighborhoods. That's why you see this. France has like 3 teams that probably, arguably, will compete for this competition. And this is why it's all about scouting and all the stuff, to be honest.
No, listen, I understand that, and I think that it's very similar in England. It's not everyone gets spotted, but there's lots of places to play. And I don't know the Dutch situation well enough, but it's when I watch them out there, it's like it's become a bit like America, where it's a bit of a middle class sport. They're not going after the true, genuine, gritty working class people. Maybe I'm just spitballing. I don't know, but it's, as some people say, you've got to let the past go. Yes and no to a certain degree. I don't believe in this forgetting the past. If you ignore the past, you're destined to repeat the same mistakes in the future. So you must always look backwards. But at the same time, you've got to try and always maintain and improve standards. You should, in theory, be looking for every generation to get better and better. Brazil are going through the same situation. You look at the quality of Brazilian footballers now compared to 10, 15 years ago plus. How has that happened, by the way, to a nation of what? 300 or 400 million people. It don't even make sense. You've got the Scots. Oh, they've got 5 million of us. You've got very, very small population in Ireland. There's no reason for these nations to have such average footballers by their standard. And I think as football fans, it's intriguing to know. This is here from 1610. He says Husam is an absolute fraud. He has no right to be welcome to the Cody Gakpo fan club after he used to slander him and call him Gak shit and Gakpo.
I think that's a rumor right there. I never said those words. He's lying. You get me? So yeah, Ryan can hold that. Also, never tell a woman you look 16 out of 10 or you get embarrassed and become the meme of YouTube. So be careful. But with the Dutch football thing, it's very interesting. You're talking about the past and stuff like that. I feel like Dutch football, you get a good mix of like people from the past with people from the present, and then you'd create like the ultimate Dutch football team. I mean, the front three, all the front three would be benched 100% for the older ones, like the Van Persies, like the Robbins, like, you'd definitely have Schneider playing like in that 10 role. You'd even have Van Bommel starting because he'd be like the destroyer type. But when I look at the defenders, this is where it becomes a little bit funny. The defenders of today for Netherlands are actually better than all the defenders I can remember.
No.
No, it's not just Van Dijk. It's not just Van Dijk. When you look at back in the Netherlands team, bro, they had Heitinga starting for them.
Oh, yeah. Go back behind that. Coleman, Frank de Boer.
Bro, I'm not going to the 1970s where you were growing up. I'm talking about 10 years ago, more. So about 10 years ago, not the 1970s.
I just Googled the Holland. Back, it's mad. We used to call them Holland back then, and it was seen as fine. The BBC, the Holland squad, 2004. Van der Sar, let's read some of the names here. Van der Sar, Jaap Stam, Van Bronckhorst, Philip Koku, Edgar Davids, Patrick Kluivert, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Rafael van der Vaart, Wesley Sneijder, Frank de Boer, Overmars, Pierre Van. This is the thing. Pierre Van Hooijdonk was probably their worst striker at the time, and he's now better than everything they've got. Ian Robben, Clarence Seedorf. Who else we got here? Zenden. Like, it's just that you just go back. It's absolutely crazy. When you start reading those names off, like,
you go 10 years ago to the 2014 World Cup team, you'll see what I mean. Defensively, they could have started. Like, the defense now is better than the one 10 years ago, but the attack is nowhere near. This is the problem for them. And by the way, today it showed. I mean, Gakpo created 2-3 chances for Depay. He missed them all. Gakpo himself missed a chance. What was the name of the guy again who was on the right-hand side? Simmons missed the chance as well.
No, if you go back to that team, so they had Ron Vlaar, right? They had Ron Vlaar.
Told you. Khalid Boulahrouz. Did they have Khalid Boulahrouz?
Who remembers this guy? Bruno Martins Indy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I remember him. He played for Stoke City.
Daley Blinn was there. I'm not too sure who the other individuals are. If they were defenders or not, I don't really remember their names. But yeah, you look
go back four. The back four of today starts over the back four of that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. Defensively, I think they have got better. Yeah, looking at from 10 years ago, that's crazy. I mean, one of the back four was starting back then as well. What's his name? Stefan
De Vrij.
Right. Yeah, there we go. So he was there. But no, this is
the only way Netherlands could do anything good today. Play to your strengths. Park the bus. I'm actually being dead serious. Now, if Netherlands park the bus, Ake, Van Dijk, De Vrij, even with Van de Ven on the bench, I think they really could stop other teams from scoring.
They can't though. I just don't think it's in the DNA of Dutch football to do this. Just the way that they are trained, taught. I get you, but it's
Then switch it up. Then switch it up.
Yeah, switch
Because
it
he's
up,
got a
right.
point. He's got a point. When you're talking that your back line is the best aspect of your team, yet you still have players like Gakpo and Xavi Simons up front, that means that back four you're saying is incredible. So why
Yep.
not play a little bit back and then give them the lanes and let them use their speed?
So I
Just don't pass it to Memphis.
So I don't disagree with what you both said. I'm just talking about this from a Dutch perspective. I just don't think the Dutch. I don't think that the manager and the players,
Yeah.
the fans and the media will find that acceptable. The Dutch play, and I know from total football since then until now, it might have even been before it, but for at least the last 40 to 50 years, they have a brand of football which is you play that way or you die. They'd almost rather go down like playing that way than scamming their way, I suppose. But I mean, having said that, they played in 2014 at the World Cup. I mean, they didn't play exactly the most expansive football under Louis van Gaal, to be fair. So they have kind of done it before, but we'll see. Let's go to some of your comments that are coming through here. What is this? Scott McTominay started as striker in the FA Cup final. Holland could start Van Dijk.
Hey, I mean, today his half volley in the first half that was saved by
He was
Chesney.
very, very good.
Okay, that was better than any of Depay's attempts. Might as well, put Van Dijk up top. Why not?
If Poland can do this, maybe other underdogs that have been written off like England can make other teams struggle to get 3 points. How do you boys think England are going to do today?
It's coming home.
Today it's coming home.
It's coming home, man. It's coming home. It's coming home. Don't worry, it's coming home. I believe that the players, are gonna just do everything possible to not let Southgate F them over, innit? That's my belief in it. We've got enough quality on the pitch to go at teams. We've arguably got the best striker in the tournament. So let's see what happens. We're gonna breeze through the group. And then hopefully we get a nice, fair, kind of knockout rounds. Hopefully we don't run into any of the demons too early on. And then we go up against maybe a France or Germany in the final. And then, on the day, we see what happens, innit? Saka.
And then you wake up. And then you wake up. And then he wakes up. And then he wakes up. Find the cover away from him. And he's got a little bit of cold. And it's great.
Nah, man, I
Look,
believe
you're an Arsenal fan. Kane is not a big game player. Kane is not a big game player.
But
Kane will score against Serbia, but against France, will he score? That's the question.
you know what?
Field goal.
I believe, man. I believe he's not in a Tottenham shirt no more, so I can believe in him now. And I believe that Kane, he'll do well for the nation.
You know what? It's funny.
It's going to be easier.
It is the first.
Going to be easier. Is anybody expecting an easy game today?
No one's expecting any. No one's
expecting easy game.
Let me just stop it, Hook. So this is what I'm going to say against Serbia.
There you are. He just disproved Terry directly. He's like, "Yep, it's an easy game." Wow.
He doesn't. That's why he laughs straight afterwards. It's cool. This understand it. It's like the coming home thing. Okay, I need to say this to everybody that is either not English or doesn't support England. It is very tongue in cheek. And Winter Surfer here says, "How can it come home when we have never won it?" So the phrase "it's coming home,"
it's a cultural thing.
It is a cultural thing, but it was a song from 1996, and I know you remember this, Winter Surfer. And it wasn't about we were going to win it per se. It was because it was the first time since 1966 that the tournament was coming, a major tournament was coming to England. That is what football was coming home, and it's coming home because we invented the damn thing. By the way, I did say that to one of my friends the other day. We're having this debate, and he works in football. And he sort of said to me, Terry, like, can you name me one thing that like the rest of the world even like participates in that's English culture? I said, you working at your mug, football. And I've never seen someone's face go so staunch in my life. He's like, oh yeah. I was like, that's about the only thing we got, right? But that's what we got. But anyway, so the song is there. And then obviously, so yes, there was that. And the song was dreaming about breaking. The song was about dreaming about ending at the time 30 years of hurt. What is now become is a little bit of a copium, a little bit of a shield, and a little bit of a joke. It's coming home. No one really, it doesn't mean you actually believe it. I find it so interesting how triggered so many people get by a joke. And there's been so many great adverts here in the UK this summer where we're absolutely taking the piss out of ourselves with it now. It's a joke. But for some reason, and maybe it's because English humor is very sarcastic, and I do believe this, a lot of other nations don't even see. It's a bit like John Cena. They can't see sarcasm. They take it as being serious in many ways. And England fans just, I don't think we do. Of course, there are some that say it, but it's about believing it into existence. But no, it's not going to be easy today against Serbia. I think we will get out of the group and then see what. Look, the most frustrating bit is I think we've got one of the best squads at the tournament. The bit that I worry about is that Graham Southgate is our manager, and I think he did a very good job helping to rebuild England that was broken when he took over. You know, you had the Hodgson era, the squad was awful. We had Allardyce that came in and then had to leave because of the scandal. He came in, and I thought what he did for the first 2.5, 3 years was stabilize us and make us believe in our nation and believe in our players again. We should have at that point moved on to a higher class of manager. We haven't done that. I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope we go on and win it. But I see us as quarterfinalists, potentially semi-finalists if we have a really good game in there. But I don't see us going any further, if I'm being honest. But I hope it does come home. Winter Surfer here says, sorry, Terry, but a huge percentage say it, mean it. We are going to win it. A few said it jokingly. But I think there's a difference here. And I genuinely mean this. And I think why you're getting conflated, Winter Surfer, and hear me out on this theory, is that you're a content creator like me. So when people say things on content, our next response now is like, to break it down for me. How, why, what about this team? And we kind of debate and we have conversations. For a lot of football fans that are just football fans only, when we say things, it's like 10% belief, 90% hope. And I'll give you an example, because I was lucky to grow up in London, where actually you had so many different teams being supported, including sides like West Ham. Start of every school year, start of every football season when you're at work. West Ham fans, we can win it this year. The same way people say it's coming home. You knew that it was only 10% belief. The rest of it was absolute hope that they had an absolute madness. And by the way, that was the 90s when it was, we were still only on the back end of the era where nobody really dominated, barring Liverpool for a bit. People say it and it is more hope, but they say it with such chest. It's like, I'm going to put it out there into the universe. I think just, and maybe it's an English thing. I think we take it too seriously that people think England might win it. I think we need to relax. And I know this for a fact. I was in Qatar. Every single person from every single country asked who was going to win it. The majority said their own country. It's not just this idea that it's only the English that do it is what annoys me. Go to these places. KJ's out there now. The Serbians are like, we're going to win it. We're going to win it. And then afterwards you go, really? They go, no, probably not. Same thing. Come on now. You've got to open up your eyes. We're really, really, really. Who said the Chinese invented football? Please stop it. Stop it.
Also, Winter Surfer, it's funny coming from you as a Chelsea fan, you know, when you expected all the crazy shit from your club to do this season, to not have the same energy for your national team. You fraud. Hey, listen, I supported Jordan in the Asian Cup. I expected us to do well. We got to the final. I couldn't believe it. It was celebrations in the whole country. We've never got to the final before. But you have to believe. But at the end of the day as well, here's the thing, Terry. This is where I feel like there's a balance in this conversation. You can believe, and halftime hooks can believe, and anyone English in this chat can believe as well that they can win it. Until you see that Southgate is actually changed, and until you see that Southgate has actually, you know, kind of ready to take the next step, you can't fully be 100% confident. Meaning, when you watch today England against Serbia, is it going to be again England go 1-0 up, and then after that they just park the bus, play defensive football, be a coward again, basically, and you know, let's just hope for the best. Let's hope we just.
Whoa. We're not going to say that after all of you was praising Italy for doing the exact same thing yesterday. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, but wasn't Terry just talking about DNA? That's not English DNA.
We're not going to do that. I'm not saying we're not going to do that, innit? We're not going to do that.
That's not English DNA. That's Italian DNA.
Carry on. We're carry on.
Last I checked, Gareth Southgate was not born in Rome. You know, so that's the difference right there. I think Gareth Southgate has many weapons. The difference between England and Italy on a real halftime hooks is most of England's weapons are all up top. And the ones that aren't up top are the ones that play behind the striker, like a Jude Bellingham, you know, or people who are like deep lying playmakers like a Trent. you don't look at England and think their strengths are defensively at all, whether it be left back, right back, center back, goalkeeper. That's not necessarily the English strength. The English strength is going forward. And I feel like, you know, from the outside looking in, one of the things that actually have been like kind of the downfall of England over the last 6, 7, 8 years, ever since Southgate's been in charge, is you're always looking at what the opposition can do to you instead of looking at what you can do to the opposition. This is, for me, the biggest problem. If England just went all out, and I'm even talking about like gung-ho football. If I'm talking about like just went all out attack, based on the quality that they have in the final third alone and the players in behind that, I think they could actually win it just by playing.
This is why I want Trent to start right back. This is the argument. Like, a lot of people don't want Trent to start right back because they're worried that Mbappe will cook him, but you don't play Trent right back in this England team for his defensive capabilities. You play him because he's one of the people that are going to get the ball to Harry Kane, and it's like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I hope we go offensive in this tournament, but I always feel that Gareth Southgate is too scared to kind of lift up the handbrake and let England go wild. But if England
do you think you'll go offensive? That's the question to you.
Well, it depends.
Do you think you'll go offensive?
No, I think he may, because if you look at, I think he's going to. If you look at the sort of conversations coming out of the England camp, it's even whether it's Trent or whether it's Mainu, that's different to the last 3 tournaments where we've gone into it with a very defensive-minded double pivot. You are then putting in one of two players who are far more expansive thinking. So I think that is us going for it a little bit more. Maradon here says, Cap, where do you see other nations saying it's coming home after every game? Well, they don't say it's coming home because that's a colloquial term within England. But when I was in Qatar, I spoke to Brazilians, I spoke to Argentinians that were absolutely correct. I spoke to Moroccans. Of course, we spoke to some of the English. We spoke to the French. We spoke to the Germans. When you ask a lot of them who's going to win, what do they say? We are, of course. And do you really think the Brazilians think this team's as good as sides in 2002 as an example? No. But this notion, it's a lie that only English fans do it. Like, the England fans sing a song that I don't partake in, but they sing a song about the RAF and kind of bombing and beating Germany. And there's a lot of like middle-class English people that are like, we have to stop this. We have to stop it. Do you know who's been defending it all over social media? The Germans, by saying, no, don't stop it because we sing one back. It's fan banter. But we have this thing where it's like, well, the English do it, it must be bad. But all the other nations fans are like, no, but we've got songs like that and we do that. And it's all a bit of fun. It's all tongue-in-cheek. People are taking it all far too literally. And I think that's the problem here. Like, English people and English fans can be confident, they can be overconfident, they can be joyous, they can celebrate their team doing well, they can want their team to win, and it shouldn't be disparaged. Any other nation does it, and people say, oh, you know, well, look at the passion, look at the beauty, oh, it's wonderful. England do it, and everybody seems to have a problem with it. And the irony within it is, I don't even know where the irony is. It's just strange to me. It's like, I understand there's some arseholes, and there's arseholes in every single country, right? But I don't see how we let a minority of dickheads dictate the mood of everybody else. Because for me, like with every single nation around the world, there's always going to be a percentage of idiots. The vast majority of people are actually quite nice. And I do believe that in most nations as well. So there we go.
I draw a lot of similarities between England and Arsenal. Because, you know, a lot of things that Arsenal do, you know, everybody loves it until Arsenal does it. For example, dog was a man's best friend until Arsenal got a dog. Everybody loved trees until Arteta planted a tree. So I draw a lot of similarities. It's like we're not allowed to enjoy things because just of who we support. But England fans, have your chest out. We have a good squad.
Enjoy it.
Manager, but have your chest out. Let's go.
Listen, I want to say this because I haven't actually spoke about it on camera, but obviously the world of football lost Kevin Campbell yesterday, someone who'd actually been on the terrace many years ago and streamed, and he was a lovely bloke, a top-class football player as well.
Big up Kevin Campbell, big up.
Only 54 years of age. I'm unfamiliar with the name of the goalkeeper of Millwall, but only 26 years of age and unfortunately lost his life over the weekend. We are here for a very short time indeed to enjoy yourself. Do not, in my humble opinion, not show chest, not celebrate, decide not to get your flags out, decide to not wear your shirt because you're worried about what a few basement dwellers on the internet who probably have no life are going to say or do. You know, have fun. This is sport. I think sport brings people together more so than any other aspect of life that I have witnessed. As I state, when I was over in Qatar, it's the first time I sort of worked in an environment like this. I remember speaking to a bunch of there was guys and girls from Ghana, and they'd just been knocked out when I arrived. And I was sorry to see you go out. They said, "Oh yeah, no problem." I said, "Who are you going to be backing now?" And they all just said, "We're here supporting Morocco, but doing it for One Africa." And I just remember sitting there thinking, that's brilliant. And you had whenever a nation went out, people stayed, and it was like, I'm going to piggyback onto this country now. I think with the you saw everyone, and then by the end, there was you were supporting France, you were supporting Argentina, and we were in the big media center. And it was when Argentina scored, you had all these people from different parts of the world celebrating. When France equalized, me and a few others were celebrating, and it was great fun. And it was just enjoy yourselves because you're not here for a very long time. Stop sort of allowing yourself to be bullied into, oh, I'm not going to cheer when my nation score in case somebody has a go at me and someone says that it's wrong to be happy. Nonsense. Enjoy yourselves. It's as simple as that. You're here for a short
I actually agree with Terry on this one. I actually think
a long time.
Sometimes the English fans are too uptight about just being happy, like just celebrating a win. And I don't see this in any other nation. Listen, when we beat Iraq in the round of 16 in the Asian Cup, there were people outside. We went outside. We celebrated. Same thing against Tajikistan. Same thing against South Korea in the semi-final. We didn't end up lifting the trophy at the end, but we still celebrated the journey. We didn't get to the destination we wanted, basically, but we celebrated the journey. We celebrated the moments. And you should have fun. You should have banter. You should enjoy yourself because it's what football is about, or it just becomes really boring.
I remember being at a pub when England played Poland in a friendly years back. And I can't remember what the chants we were singing were. But then there's a few Poles in the pub, and they started singing a chant that we're here to take your jobs, we're here to take your jobs. And everyone cheered and laughed, and there was only a few lads, and we bought them a round of drinks, and it was just everybody involved. And I just think that element of sport, win, lose, or draw, is the beauty of it. And again, I do say this because not everybody's privileged to be able to do it. But if you can ever get to a World Cup, a Euros, a Copa America, whatever it may be, if you can get there and be amongst it and socialize with fans and people from different parts of the world, it genuinely, I was very lucky to do it when I was younger as a fan. And I've done it now on a work environment. It broadens your horizons. It changes your mindset on things. And you actually really understand how things go on, not opposed to how, listen, there's a lot of things said about Qatar, right? For years, I wouldn't have spent, 3 or 4 weeks there. Nothing like anybody told me it was. You got to experience these things for life and then listen to the experienced people. But listen, I want to thank everybody that has tuned in. This is going to take you through to This Is Football for Husam's next watch along. So go and support him. We're back live after England take on Serbia at Euro 2024. This year, he says that if Gareth Southgate puts Foden on the wing, I think England are getting knocked out early. He is so much better in the 10 than he is on the wing. We will see. We will see. Listen, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we will see you all again very, very soon.